I am standing on a bridge connecting Hunter West to the North Building. We are looking at a small part of the community called the Upper East Side. We found that this community has three main demographics. There are those who are older and residents. There are the young couples who are moving in and have just started to have kids. And there are the commuters, a good portion of whom are students. This difference in population creates a split in the community, and in fact, the very bridge I am standing on is a consequence of that split. The bridge serves to eliminate traffic by students when they are heading between classes. As you can see, this area is already highly trafficked. If you walk around, you'll notice that commuters are concentrated between Lexington and eastward, and that residents tend to stick to Park Avenue in the west. Although one would imagine that the huge influx of students would change some of the industry to accommodate them, it has, but only to a limited extent, since although there are bookstores and boutique shops and restaurants in the neighborhood, the restaurants and food carts still tend to be pretty pricey. Even the open food carts, which you can see down there, tend to be more expensive than in other parts of the city. Hunter College sits atop the 68th Street station, and you can see it right there. That's the big entrance, and there are actually entrances on all four corners. For many, that is where their day begins and ends. Many will not wander far beyond the campus, and as a result, there is limited interaction between the residential community and the students. The 66th Street Crosstown bus. This bus represents the interaction between the students and the residential community. Both groups of people use this bus to get to Lincoln Center and other places to enjoy the arts in the city. There is limited interaction on the bus, but some can be found when there's a big show, and also when there are big gallery openings and such. But most interaction between these two communities happens in the museums, and even then, it's limited. Frick Collection entrance. It's one of the most famous museums in New York City. Both students and residents love to visit here, although it is quite expensive, so nobody visits here that often, but there are so many people here that you'll always see people visiting and checking out the collection. And sometimes you'll see residents and students interacting, because you'll have residents who are very familiar with the collection, and you'll have students who are very familiar with the history, because they study that in the college, and they'll talk about it, and it's
Streets begin to fill with memories of you and I on a New York.
Here we have 740 Park Avenue. It is a luxury apartment building which has been the home to many wealthy and famous residents, including Jacqueline Kennedy, John D. Rockefeller Jr., and Thelma Chrysler Foy, the automobile heiress. This building is symbolic of the community's history and wealth. Although many communities have changed in the past, this community will likely stay the same for quite some time. In fact, a doorman we asked, who's been working here for 30 years, said this community has barely changed at all.
I've been here 31 years, so I have a lot of experience under my belt.
Have you seen the community change in any significant ways?
Not really. Usually the older people die and move out and move away, and then you got like the younger people coming in, but not that young.
Right.
No, the city's the city. It's got a heartbeat. And usually a heartbeat doesn't change, it just keeps going.
Park Avenue, of course, is a non-residential area, and so the only buildings you'll find here are either condominiums, apartments, and museums, such as the Azer Society over there, down that way. In the middle of the road, we have an island which is covered with a park, hence the name Park Avenue. There's also public art, which is commissioned by the Parks Department, but approved by the community board. Here's an example of a sidewalk cafe. This is something that the community board would approve, seeing as there's enough room on the sidewalk for people to pass, so they could expand their little cafe into the street. It creates a very nice environment, especially in the spring, and also allows for more business to happen because there is limited space inside the cafe. Bookberries is one of those little stores that has accommodated the younger community, especially the community with kids. They even have a little children's entrance which makes the children feel like they're They have their own little library, their own little bookstore. So that's pretty convenient. And it's a nice little shop, and it has books for all ages, and it particularly concentrates and tries to sell to the younger community, to the population with young kids and to their parents.
And I take it with me where.
Over here we have an interesting confluence of banks that have merged into one block. You have Citibank, you have TD, over there you have Bank of America, and in fact, just a couple of more meters away, a Chase. The interesting part of all this is not that there are so many banks, it's that all the banks are concentrated in one particular area. And the reason for that is not that there aren't any banks around here, there are plenty of banks. The point is that many of the people who come here are commuters. They don't live here. So for them, the choice of bank is kind of important because where they come from, maybe they only have one of these banks and it's very convenient for them to use that particular bank. So those banks have to accommodate and build branches that extend into where these people work. And that's why you actually have all 4 banks just on this one block. Central Park is famous for being created right in the middle of the city. It is central to the city, but it doesn't feel like the city once you're in the park. The park has a very natural feel to it. That was created intentionally because it originally was just a flat land, and what they did was they added hills and paths that are curved and everything, so you can just get lost in the park so that you feel like you are not in the city at all, but very much in the middle of a forest or something. And one of the great things of that is that it allows for class distinctions to be completely swept away and completely forgotten, or at least partially forgotten, because everyone comes here just to enjoy the park, to enjoy nature, and you can see tons of people here milling around on Sunday afternoon, enjoying the park. Residents, commuters, visitors, tourists, not really caring about, where they have to be tomorrow, what they have to do tomorrow, and it's really a beautiful thing.